Life is so busy. If you blink, you can miss something amazing. It's important to take a moment and enjoy what we have and the people around us. I'm Mo Hagan, Chief Operating Officer for CanFit Pro, and welcome to A Moment with Mo, a podcast where I will welcome some incredible guests to talk fitness and nutrition, mindset and self-empowerment, setting our goals into action, and much, much more. Now let's get chatting. Welcome to A Moment with Mo. I'm your host, Mo Hagan, and we have another great episode coming your way. Before we get underway, I want to thank you all for joining in and for all your wonderful feedback on the episodes of this season. There's so much amazing, thoughtful feedback being shared, and I'm so grateful for that. It's wonderful to hear that the conversations that we have here, like the one we're about to have, really serve you well. On this episode, we have meaningful conversations with exceptional leaders, amazing humans who really are here to share, and they themselves creating positive change in the world, enjoy sharing their insights, personal stories, and lived experiences that really help ignite passion and purpose and inspire us all to lead with intention. The goal of every episode is to uncover those powerful moments of wisdom, growth, learning, and more that help us all learn how we can become more of who we are meant to be. Today's conversation, I'm especially looking forward to. My guest is Penny Phang, and Penny is the wellness and fitness expert and a mentor to many. She is the founder of Self Empower, a transformational series of seminars and workshops designed to help leaders and individuals access greater clarity, emotional strength, and sustainable performance from within. Penny and I met many years ago in a leadership workshop at CanFit Pro, and just recently we reconnected. I was immediately excited and eager to learn more about Penny's Self Empower courses and her methodology. So that is one reason she is here today. Penny's grounded presence and her thoughtful perspective and unique ability to really help people connect to themselves in a world today that constantly pulls us outward. What I appreciate the most about Penny, from what I remember years ago, and again just recently, is that she's really dedicated her purpose around not just teaching people to slow down their ambition, but helping them redefine how they show up in life from within. And in today's high performance world and culture of always thinking as leaders, we need to do more, we have to have it all together, while quietly navigating the not so great days, burnout, overwhelm, and constant pressure, I believe this conversation couldn't be timelier. Penny brings not only professional expertise, but lived experiences, an emotional personal story that she has navigated for herself. And I'm going to ask Penny to share more of that here today. But let me say less and let me introduce you to Penny. Here we are. Penny, welcome.
Hello, Mo. Thank you for that wonderful, wonderful introduction. It's so
Well,
good to be here.
Well, it's so great to have you here. As I mentioned to you before we went on air, that when I reconnected with you just a couple weeks ago, I knew that the space I'd created for this month's episode was waiting for just the right person. And when you shared with me all the work you've done since we actually took that leadership workshop together many years ago, I just thought I couldn't think of a better person, and thought that this would be a perfect conversation at this time of the year in what feels like just the new year, but we're well underway in 2026.
Oh, yes, absolutely. It's
Yeah,
like, yeah, perfect timing. I love the
perfect
timing of it
timing.
all. Yeah, feels
Perfect
aligned.
timing. I feel like it's been a race, and now you're going to help us understand how to slow down, not our ambition, but the race that we feel we're having to run every day. Before
Mhm.
we get underway, I want to invite you to share a little bit more about your story, your journey that brought you to the work that you do today. And
Mm.
that'll help set the platform for our conversation.
Right. Thank you. I appreciate that. And yes, my journey, it all began long time ago when I was actually suffering depression. I want to say at this point, I say move through depression. I don't actually say suffer anymore because it was a bit of a gift. So, when I had to move through depression and PTSD just from a very traumatic childhood, that actually led me to feeling lack. So you grow up not realizing that you feel less than. So a lot of things I was doing at the time was just to overcompensating for that feeling of lack. I was trying to be an overachiever. I didn't even know I was doing it. And long story short, I was successful, but all of that also led to a lot of pressure to keep up with this persona, to show everyone I was doing great. And at the end of the day, when you're exhausted, you're more vulnerable. And over time, old memories of trauma began to resurface when I was in my vulnerable state. So I found myself trying to figure out how to move out of trauma and PTSD on my own. I've always been pretty self-reliant, and I think that I realized later in life that it's a gift. At the time, I just felt alone all the time. So I found these different ways of learning how to become better, to move out of trauma, befriend with emotions, and getting still and breathing and moving. So I'm learning all these modalities. And later on in life, I realized as I tune myself out of the frequency of depression, how do I actually teach this? How do I share this? And that's when it all began, the
Mm.
self empower method. Yeah, kind of reverse engineer and try to figure out how did Penny do all this? I didn't know how I did it because I wasn't planning on teaching it. So that's how it started.
Wow.
Yeah.
I love how you used your journey through depression and PTSD as a gift, and then that helped you also find, in a way, your purpose. You thought, well, I've learned this. Now it's my responsibility, perhaps, as the amazing human you are, to share what you learned with the world. So that truly is a gift for all of us. So thank you, because we're
Oh,
going to
my
learn more
pleasure.
about that today.
Oh,
Yeah, it's wonderful. Yeah, today we're going to talk about leadership, and leaders show up vulnerable, and that's what makes the leader today versus the leader of yesterday.
mhm,
You're right, being vulnerable, exposing your vulnerabilities on days where you're supposed to have it all together. But one thing that was a gift for me during the pandemic was not knowing what the hell I was doing most days, because who did? But also being vulnerable with my leaders, admitting that, I don't know the path forward. And I don't think there's a playbook for it. So let's figure it out, or let's journey this path together. And wow, what an opportunity for all of us to understand the true meaning of leadership, both for
mhm,
ourselves personally as well as professionally. Um,
mhm,
but that's what leaders do. They show up vulnerable, willing to learn, and also understanding the power of the essential skill today of emotional intelligence. But you speak to it as emotional resilience. You also, I love how you term strength. Stillness is strength, which I
mhm,
really had to think about again, because it's hard to be still when we're forced to always be on the move. And then, of course, how do we move from reaction into aligned action? You have
mhm,
such incredible ways of coining the terms within your self empower movement. So I would like to dive into that somewhat to really understand more of your work.
mhm,
Three areas we're going to talk about today. So everyone, let's start with the first one, Penny, if we may. Um, the invisible struggle behind high performance.
mhm.
You work with leaders, I imagine, across all industries, people who often appear highly successful and composed on the outside. What are you noticing is really happening beneath the surface for many high performers today that you work with?
Mm. You know, it's funny when we're coaches, executives, leaders, teachers, we think that we don't have the right to feel bad or have negative thoughts or feeling stress or doubts. We're not allowed to make mistakes. So we have this pressure of needing to be perfect, whether it's conscious or unconsciously, because we have this responsibility to lead. So we can put that kind of pressure on ourselves and become quietly beating up on ourselves, and that silent pressure behind the scenes is what gets us out of alignment. And when we are out of alignment, it just means your mind and heart are no longer on the same wavelength. That means they're not working together. So that does not lead to aligned actions. This means your actions are no longer expansive. And you'll know because you feel stuck or you feel like you're forcing stuff, right? And so when you're out of alignment, even the well-meaning intentions that we have as leaders can feel lack. You can feel like it's diluted with the need to keep up with trends or stay relevant. I need to stay relevant. I need to convince, persuade, compare, and prove my worth. And now we're all caught up in this type of pressure. The leadership is no longer rooted in stillness. It's
Mm.
rooted more in fear of falling behind or of trying to keep up. So in that moment, leadership is not coming from within. It's coming from without alignment. And we gotta we've gotten so good at making things happen, getting things done, making a whole lot of things happen around us, even when we're not in alignment. We've gotten so good at that as humans, just through generations of conditioning and technology and advancements and all that pressure. We got good at it. And but the thing is, it does come with a price. And that price is more unnecessary resistance, which then leads to all kinds of resistance comes in many forms. And that leads to like maybe what I call sad, leads to more sad, meaning S stands for stress, anxiety for A, D for depression, there's despair and doubts. So it leads to more sad. And all that resistance, excessive resistance over time leads to more discord or dis-ease, disease. And
Mm.
that's the price we pay, though we get things
Wow.
done. Yeah. So that's how I
Wow.
feel about that.
Dis-ease is disease. That's
Same
a
thing.
first I've heard. Wow.
It's the same
So
thing.
true when you really dig deep into that dis-ease. They say
Yes.
stress kills, right? Dis-ease is stress,
Disease.
anxiety,
Yes.
not
And
being present. Oh my
yeah.
gosh. Some
Yeah, because resistance over time, excessively over time, and that's where it leads to the pains and aches and dis-ease or disease, like more, right? And
Mhm.
and so that's where I see leadership. It needs to go deeper. Otherwise, it just keeps going up
Right,
without.
right.
Just still
Now
getting things done.
I know you have a whole method on this, but I'm just having to ask, what would be the first layer perhaps or step that you would take with leaders to go deeper with
Hmm.
this?
So I thank you for that beautiful question. It's such a powerful question. And it's funny how you said when COVID hit, you didn't know what to do. Well, the day before COVID, here's what happened. I literally was at that breaking point, just like all these leaders might feel that need to keep up and, you know, follow the trend. I need to be relevant. And so I started to feel like there's got to be more to life than this. There's got to be more, something deeper, stronger, more powerful. Why everything feels so surface? There must be more. So I sat there. I remember I sat there. I was just going through the path downtown. I sat there and I said, I don't know who I'm talking to, but I was saying,
Mm.
show me there's more. Show me there's a way that we can all go deeper and that there is meaning to what we're doing. We're not just like robots moving. I said, give me a big sign, so big that I cannot miss it. Oh my gosh. The next day, everything
But
shut
the
down.
universe was listening to you on
So
behalf of the world.
yeah, the whole thing shut down. Nobody was allowed out. So I said, thank you. I got the sign. What do you need next? And then I was led to go back to what I know and how I got out of depression, how I got out of PTSD. It was getting still. And when I say still, it's not that you're not moving. You're moving, you're doing, you're being, you're saying, but your stillness is, but that all is rooted from a place of stillness. So you can be quick, but you're not in a hurry. You can talk fast, but you're not feeling anxious, right? So things are happening outside, but it's all rooted in stillness. So it's coming from a deeper intelligence.
Mm.
And it feels expansive. You'll know when it happens because what you're doing, saying, and being may feel like there's a lot of pressure, but you feel clear and you feel like something is leading you or supporting you. And so that's what I mean by going still and tapping into that frequency. That frequency of stillness is not outside of you. It is a space It is a station, just like a radio station. And when you think of a radio station, you can tune into any station you want to draw in more of the same thing. You can
Mhm.
tune into a station that lifts you up and makes you want to dance. And then you can tune into a station that brings you down and makes you feel relaxed or sad, or like listen to the news and now you're angry about something. So it's whatever you want to experience. When it comes to this sacred space within yourself, there is a station. It's a high frequency field in which, when you collaborate with it, it is a high frequency field where more new and better possibilities are born. More new and better possibilities cannot be born from a place that's already done and old. It can only come from an unknown. Unknown is new. And so
Mhm.
when I say tap into stillness and focus on your breath, you're not doing nothing. You're doing everything.
Mm.
And when you tap into that frequency, it's not outside of you. You don't have to go looking for outside. Nobody can help you more than this powerful, deeper intelligence. You tap in there, it's like tuning to that very specific sacred space within you, and you are drawing from it. And when you trust it enough, because not trusting is not a high frequency. When
Mm.
you trust it, every little bit of time, you don't have to trust it 100%. A little bit here, a little bit there over time. You don't have to not trust it. You just have to hope and try and kind of be open to it. And that's enough to keep your frequency high, and you'll start receiving. And it doesn't come in a form where it's like loud noises and fireworks. It comes moment at a time, moment at a time, a
Moment.
moment at a time. Yes, you may not feel amazing and you have all the answers to all your questions and you have the whole path in front of you. It may very well be just that when you have that, oh, that moment, right? And that happens depending on your level of resistance. You might just have that moment. But usually, because most people have a lot of resistance, what's how it leads you is through moment by moment clarity, where you are then for sure led on your path of less resistance, whatever
Mm.
that path is in that moment. Yeah.
Led on that path of less resistance. I love that.
Your path of less, yeah, because we're all
Your
different. And my
unique
path,
path. Mhm.
yes, my path might be different. For me, my less resistance at the time during depression, if you tell me to write down positive affirmations, I would tell you, you're crazy. I can't think positive. I'm really upset right now. I cannot think. I'm so sad. I want to die. Like, so don't, you can't, that's not my path of least resistance. However, if you tell me, Penny, you're allowed to be angry. Let me tell you why you should be angry. These people were not good to you, and this happened to you. Now get angry. Get angry. You know what? Anger is a higher frequency than depression. That's why it feels better to be angry than to sit there and do nothing and be despair and depressed, because it's a lower frequency. That's why people choose to be angry rather than completely hopeless. So I would, if someone made me tell me I was okay, it's not wrong to just be angry for a moment. Oh, I could do that. Okay, I could do that. And then from there, you can ask me to have courage. Think of something right now that you're going to be unapologetic for. And then from there, I go, yeah, well, now you can raise my vibration a little bit at a time. That was my path of least resistance.
Mm.
Now, because I'm today, anyways, because we're always changing, today I'm
Mhm.
feeling good. So here I am in acceptance, willingness, and appreciation. You tell me to do a positive affirmation, I'll be like, yes, please. Let's do it. I'd be so excited because it is my path of least resistance right now. So that means there's no wrong path and no one's behind. It's just a matter of moment to moment. What's your path of least resistance right now? What do you need right now to take you just a little bit above from where you are?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Beautiful. We're here with Penny Pong, and we're talking about leadership using some of Penny's self empower methodologies and insights and experiences lived through her own journey. My next question, interesting enough, is about stillness as a leadership strength. And you've
Mhm.
talked all about this, finding path of your unique path of least resistance and making stillness as a strength. And you talked about how you guide leaders through discovering what that stillness can reveal and learning how to tap into your own unique station of high frequency. So what I'd love to ask you is, in the world where leadership itself celebrates hustle, competition, constant productivity, How can, perhaps I could ask, I've asked, you shared how leaders can start to see that stillness as a strength, but how can they make that a competitive advantage?
A competitive advantage.
Yeah.
So let's let's put it this way. If you didn't have stillness on your side, can you still, as I was saying earlier, can you still get stuff done, make a whole lot of things happen around you? Absolutely. Absolutely. But it does come with a price. And
Mm-hmm.
that price was a whole lot more of unnecessary resistance, and resistance comes in many forms. So you do pay the price of more stress, more anxiety, more doubts, more of those things that make you feel discord, and eventually over time dis-ease or disease. So you don't really have an advantage when you're
Mm.
moving in that direction. You may be okay today, but if we're talking about sustainable success, which is what true leadership is, then your advantage is to start tapping into a deeper intelligence that's always been within you. Otherwise, you're working alone and you're looking for outside and external conditions to feel good and feel better and for answers. And external conditions are not dependable. It's only
Mm.
the deeper intelligence that is stable, constant, and dependable.
Brilliant, stable, constant, and dependable. I love that. And those are great, great, doable um, skills that we all learn as, I mean, as, and should learn. And it's interesting that you talk about that for leadership. I also think that this can be applied towards someone's pursuit for personal fitness and wellness. Same thing, right?
Absolutely.
Hmm.
Absolutely. Same thing. When I was going through depression and PTSD, when I surrendered, when you're so tired of life, at the end of the day, I just surrendered to stillness. I did it just by default. And I was just like, there's nothing else I want to do. I don't feel like doing anything. I was always tired. And so I surrendered to stillness and I trusted in the unknown. And I did this all by default. And then I learned when I trusted the unknown, I kind of had to. And then it kind of led me to nap a lot. And then I would kind of move a little. And I didn't know at the time, but napping is a form of releasing resistance. So that's why we sleep. But we think we sleep because we need to go to sleep. But it's how it's how the flow of life allows us to get some releasing of resistance, please, because otherwise we're not going to stop thinking. The only time we stop is when we're sleeping, and that's when we get to release resistance. That's why we can wake up and do it all over again. Otherwise, it would be on resistance overdrive. So,
Wow.
yeah. So it's a very beautiful thing that the way life flows for us and it's always supporting us, whether we know it or not. And so when we think at the time, I thought, you're putting me to nap. I don't want to sleep. I know I'm supposed to be a successful person. Why am I taking naps so much? And I was beating myself up, but I didn't realize that was my path of least resistance for me at the time that I needed to release resistance, stop in my head. And then it led me to move. I started moving. I'm like, oh my God, I hate moving. But then I would move, I would stretch, I would go to the gym or something and do what I can. Little by little, I started to recalibrate my energy without even realizing it because all that movement and extra breath work from sleeping and moving and stretching, all that work, inner work, breath work and movement recalibrated my energy and tuned me out of the frequency of depression. And then pretty soon I'm like, what happened? Oh, that's why I reverse engineer to go, what happened? And then I start looking back at all the things I did do. And it was starting with stillness and it was starting with trusting the unknown because the unknown is a high frequency field where more new and better possibilities are born. And that's how I got more new and better possibilities in my life. I came out of bankruptcy because when I was going through depression, I went into bankruptcy too because I couldn't work and I couldn't think. So I was so ashamed of myself. I didn't want anyone to know because I'm a leader, I'm a Penny and I got things going on. People should think I'm cool. I don't want them to know I have depression and PTSD. Are you kidding me? So I didn't want to share with anybody that I was not well. But so that's how it was my stubbornness and my pride that also led me to self-empower. So that's what I meant when I said it's a bit of a blessing in disguise for me because I took it as a way to learn something as hard as it was. Some days I never thought I could make it because it just was so low, I feel so drained. And fast forward, it is what it is today where I'm okay, but then I also remember and realize that we are to be humble because people change moment to moment depending on what they're thinking about or what they're experiencing. So I may be up and great, but there's also moments I can be down because I'm still in this human body. And as long as you live in this human body, playing in this time space dimension, you are surrounded by contrast. So it's inevitable you will feel resistance every day, again and again. And it's nothing wrong. That's what I have to learn. There's nothing wrong with reacting to it, but because it's human. But the problem is not about reacting. The problem is not about being sad or angry or depressed. The problem is staying there.
Mm.
Don't stay there, but feel it. Don't fight it. Feel
Feel
it.
it.
Feel it. And then I talk about, and this happens at self-empower workshop. So I don't want to take too much time here, but I will say that I ask people to leverage the combustion of thought because the universe, the life is so full of grace. It offers you so much leverage and so much leeway that there is a combustion of thought. There's a combustion of thought that happens every 15 seconds. This means that your thought reaches a combustion point every 15 seconds. Every 15 seconds, that thought that you're having more thoughts like it will join it. Another 15 seconds, it amplifies. Another 15 seconds, it amplifies. You pass the 60-second mark, it can be a little harder to manage, but if you keep it all under 60 seconds, it's just perfect because you need resistance. You need resistance in order to generate power, just like a battery. The battery has got positive, negative. It cannot generate resistance without it cannot generate power without a bit of resistance. So I say follow the 80-20 flow. Allow yourself 20% resistance because it is necessary. So that way you're not hard on yourself when you have resistance because it is necessary to generate power.
Mm.
Just not more, right? So when you give yourself the leeway and the grace period of 60 seconds to be it, feel it completely without judgment, because you're so deliberate with your energy, 60 seconds become a really, really long time to feel bad. You're ready to swipe next, please, right next, just like social media. Next,
Yeah.
I'm done with that one, right? We're so
Yeah.
good to do this. Why can't we do this?
Yeah.
Right? We're so good to say, I don't like this. Next. Okay, I like that one. Next, I like that one. So I talk about social media. Brain is like social media. It's constantly feeding you content, things that matter, things that don't matter. You got to get good at swiping, not just what's on your phone, but what's in your head.
Mm-hmm.
Swipe. Yeah. Swipe.
Swipe.
Swipe
Wow.
next. Yep.
I can
Next.
just I see this method being a published thing. Something like 5 4 3 2 1 with Mel Robbins. Now we've got Penny Pong with 60 seconds, then swipe.
Swipe. Right?
You never know. Oh my
That's
gosh,
so
that was
cute.
so insightful and brilliant. Um, we could talk more about that, but I do want to get to our third area
Yes.
of leadership, and then I'd like to tie your learnings that you shared today into my recent blog, if I may. So, my
Yes.
last area that I'd love to touch on is moving from reaction to alignment. You have spoken and you always speak about helping people move from the reactivity to clarity and aligned action. What are some of the signs that a leader may be operating in the reacting mode or the reaction mode? And what's one simple practice? You have shared one already, a great one. What would be a practice they can begin using to reconnect with themselves?
Okay, I can go on about this. Oh, that's why the self-empower workshops are amazing because we can go all day. You can ask all these questions. I've got so
Yeah.
much to share with you because I get all these downloads. And that's what happens when you get good at trusting the stillness within you. There's this deeper intelligence that gets to work through you. And then you get these downloads and you can't stop coming out because they're playing with you. You never
Mm.
work alone, ever. As much as you think you may be by yourself, you only cut yourself off when you don't trust. But when you allow and you trust, it flows through you and you
Close.
start to, yeah. So the self-empower shows are great like this, but I'm going to try and see if as much as I can fit in. I'm just going to let them
Yep.
decide. So in order to know, you always know because your emotion is your friend and it's always telling you where you are along the emotional guidance scale. If you're feeling more than neutral, you will know. It's easy to know because you're, moving along, being, doing, and saying, accepting the moment as it is, willing to go with the flow. You're feeling curious. Curious is a good thing. Feeling curious. I'm just curious. And that means whatever outcome, you're not like attached to the outcome. You're just curious and feeling excited, appreciation, all that stuff, Don't even have to question, because that's your true self. Your true self is the above neutral zone, right? Now, when you're feeling like you're looping in less than neutral, you'll know, because there would be enough resistance that you begin to feel some form of discord, right? Stress, anxiety, doubt, fear, all that kind of stuff that makes you go, ugh. And this is where you have to remember a couple things. I call it observe and then lead. So that's another method, is observe and then lead. Observe meaning you breathe. And this is something I teach. I teach a simple way to how to breathe with your eyes open, because we live with our eyes open most of our days. So it's important to know how to get into stillness with your eyes open and not just with your eyes closed in meditation. Meditation is just 10 to 20 minutes to set the tone, but it's what you do the rest of the day that matters. So integration is important. So I teach you how to integrate it into your day. So you're doing it with your eyes open as you move about your day with pressure around you. So you breathe, you soften your vision, and then you begin to observe. You observe the two aspects of you. There's two. There's the mind, which is just the brain in action. Brain in action is called the mind. That's all it is. And then there's the soul, the true self, that higher self, some people call it, or the inner being, or whatever, the gut intuition, the soul. And the soul is the one watching the brain in action with no judgment. No, not one is better than the other. Sometimes people feel I have to choose one. I have to be spiritual, or I have to be intellectual. Which one? Do I be like, you're not supposed to choose. When you're living in this physical body, as a human, the sweet spot is that you get into alignment so that your mind and heart, they work together. And what that means when they work together, meaning that they get on the same wavelength, and this means when they're on the same wavelength, the mind can now clearly hear and translate what the heart knows. That's what aligned action is all about. So it's never like one's better than the other. They're supposed to work together. So when you're still, the mind can translate and hear what the heart knows. Otherwise, it goes off on its own tangent, because your mind is like AI, it's artificial intelligence. It's a tool that you get to use while you're in this human body. So it's like any tool. A hammer is a tool. You can use a hammer to build or to destroy. So the power is in the user. You're the user. The brain is just AI, and it's just as helpful. It's only as helpful as you lead it to be. So when I talk about observe and lead, now you have to observe. The game changer is to observe, recognize who's taking the lead at the moment. Yeah, who's taking the lead at the moment? The brain is like AI. It's a tool you get to use. So if you're the user and you're the one leading it, that means you will remember this. This is a game changer, and this is the game you want to play. That you remember, I am not the brain. I am not the brain. Wait a minute. I am the quiet presence watching the brain in action, the higher consciousness observing. Now, the moment you observe with no judgment, your true self is present. Your true self is present. That means you're in your power, because presence is power. When you're present, you're not reacting to the mind in that moment. You're not being run by the mind. You take the lead. And when you take the lead, clarity naturally returns. That's the byproduct. Clarity naturally returns, so you lead to stronger actions and stronger decisions. And then from here, to answer your question, right? So that's sort of how, right? Understanding the two. And then here you're living your day to day. If you're feeling more than neutral, keep doing, saying your thing. Don't worry about it. It's all good. Now you're feeling less than neutral. Okay, this is where you want to breathe, soften your vision, understand who is taking charge right now. And that's okay. Don't take your brain too seriously. It's just trying to be useful. It's giving you all these content so you have choices, right? So just say, hey, listen, what are you up to now? Hello. What are you up to now? Right? Talk to your brain, because it's fun. It's part of who you are. It's fun. So now, once you're done talking to your brain, you don't even have to talk to your brain. Just soften your vision, breathe, and ask the question. Let me take a step back before you ask this question, because if I take a step back, this question will make sense.
Okay.
As the true self, you will remember at some point that you're living in a loving, inclusion-based universe. This means there's no such thing as no. There's only yes. You see something wanted, and you say, yes, I want that. I like that. How do I get more of that? Yes. Universe says yes. Yes to the thing you want. Yes to what you're paying attention to. Yes to how you're feeling. Here's more stuff that feels the same. You see something unwanted and you say, no, I don't want that. I don't like that. I hate that. Can we stop that? How do we fight against that? And the universe says, yes, yes, the thing you don't want. Yes, to what you're paying attention to. Yes, to how you feel. And here's more stuff that feels the same. So there is no such thing as no, there's only yes. Energy just flows where your attention goes, whether it's wanted or unwanted, and it amplifies it. Just so there's no judgments. Always yes, 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 whatever you want. Yes, yes. So when you remember this higher truth, so we talk about higher truths at Self-Empower Workshop. When you
Mhm.
remember this higher truth, you will ask this question. First, you have this less than neutral moment, and you're thinking and you're looping in resistance and whatever, and you say, I'm going to give myself 60-second grace because I'm allowed this 60-second resistance because that's my source of power, right? So that's just like a battery. And then you, after 60 seconds, you ask yourself, and you might not even need the 60 seconds because you're like, no, I'm ready to swipe, I'm good. And then you ask, is this thought something I can say yes to? Because it's a yes universe. Is this thought something I can say yes to? Is this energy I want to amplify? Because, right, what you focus, energy flows where your attention goes and amplify it, whether it's wanted or unwanted. So you ask yourself, is this a thought I want right now to say yes to? Is it energy I want to amplify? Oh, let me tell you, when you're present like that, you're going to say, no, that's all right. I'm good. I get it. I'm there. I gave myself 60 seconds. I'm good. Then you ask the next question. Is there action to take right now, or am I just worrying? The fact is, if there's action to take, you'd be taking it. You won't even have time to ask this question. But you're mostly worrying. We do that, right? So I'm worrying. Then you remind yourself there's no power in worry because it's a lower frequency and you can't lead from behind. So
Mhm.
so that means there's no power in worrying. It drains my energy from the things that do matter. So you kind of remind yourself that. Then you ask the next question. So what is my right now action item?
Mm.
What is my right now action item? Now you bring yourself to the present, and then clarity will tell you, you'll know. You'll be like, finish what's in front of you. You're finishing, finish the email. You're in the middle of it. Or go get some water, go to the bathroom, take a break, or listen to this person that's actually talking right now, or focus on the road because you're driving. And so you know. So those moments, you're actually being led, and you just think it's just me talking to myself. No, it's leading you on your path to least resistance.
Wow. Wow. You know what? You answered the question I was going to ask you, Penny, about the, my blog. I talk like the idea of growth isn't always about pushing harder. It's sometimes being more intentional in where we place our energy
Mhm.
and attention. And you just actually read my mind. And I was going to say, how do you help leaders recognize the difference and how to take charge of where their energy should flow to be more in alignment to therefore grow?
Mhm.
And you just addressed it for us. So,
Ah,
wow,
well,
that's that, that's you collective energy right there.
yes, that's how it works when alignment happens.
Oh
And
my
yeah,
gosh, that's
because
wild.
yeah, so a lot of this can be a lot of these problems that we try so hard to solve
Yeah,
don't need to
yeah,
be harder, more action, more thought, none of that.
yeah.
Just allow everyone to be on the same page in terms of wavelength. So if we all kind of get still together, chances are we're going to meet each other telepathically anyway.
There, you know
Yeah.
what? Yeah, you're absolutely right, and it just happened. It
Yeah.
really did.
Yeah.
And I was just sitting here going through, your exercise with you, like as I would in a workshop with you. So I know for sure that I am going to check out your workshops, but I'd love you to share with our viewers, our listeners, where they can reach you and learn more about your workshops, your courses, and anything that's coming up for you as events in the future.
Thank you for asking this question because they're nudging me to say the truth because I was gonna not tell the truth, but I was just gonna be like, oh yeah, But the truth is, I've actually been worried it's not good enough or it's not ready to be out
Mm.
there. So I was
Oh,
very, yeah. So I'm very hesitant because I make sure it's always private. Everything's private. So I've been doing only private events, and so the next one I'm doing is private with the YWCA, and then I'm
okay.
doing another private with a client where we're arranging one for mompreneurs, right? Mompreneurs. Some mothers have a lot of work to do. If you know what I mean? It's not easy to be a mom, but it's not easy to be an entrepreneur either. And it's not easy because a mom is an entrepreneur for the home.
Mm-hmm.
And then there's moms who are also entrepreneur on top of being an entrepreneur at home. so we're doing one for mompreneurs, and so that's private again. So when
Mhm.
I reached out to you, Mo, when I was ready, I reached out to you. I said the first person that came to my head, the name was Mo, and so I reached out and I told you that. I said that you were the first person that came to mind because I'm ready to put it out there in terms of not being so hesitant. And I think that was just a little bit of the hesitant that comes with me. Like, again, all leaders or people in general, doesn't matter if you're a leader or not. I think we're all leaders at the end of the day because we're leading someone or something within our space or within outside, doesn't matter. We're all leaders. So I think that part of my childhood trauma can sometimes still come up and make me feel like, Penny, you're not good enough. You're not ready, even though I'm already doing it. So I have to make sure that I go back into stillness and allow that to guide me, to pull me out. And that's why I'm out. I'm like, okay, I'm ready now. So I'm doing them behind the scenes in private. And now I'm actually putting it out there. So guess what? And
Yay.
thanks to you, I'm going to be at the Global
Campus Pro Global in
Cancer
August.
Pro Global at part of be a panel coaching. Yeah. Yeah.
Very
So that will be
good.
a great, yeah, that will be
And
the
more to come, my friend,
more to
more to come.
come.
And I also believe that this is a platform and invitation for all of you that are watching and listening to think how Penny Pong could add or contribute to your leadership journey and the work that you do or the leadership that you hold at your corporation. And we're always, I mean, corporations are always looking for great workshops to help leaders perform better as the unique humans they are, not always pursuing more faster, but also helping their leaders look inward to find more stillness and grace and success in that stillness
Mhm.
and grace. So please watch for more information. We'll certainly be sharing this podcast across your network, my network, and I hope some of you will pick up your device and reach out and find Penny Pong. We've put some of your social handles up. I want to
Amazing.
thank you for your wisdom, your journey. Thank you for, you know, being so willing to share your story with us here today. I feel very blessed to have reconnected with you. And you have no idea how this reconnection has really helped me personally. So I just want to say thank you.
Oh,
I also believe people listening today will feel the same. Your ideas and your thoughtful sharing of some of your methods will really resonate with the idea that clarity, calm, and presence are not luxuries in leadership, they're necessities.
mhm.
Yeah, I really
Beautiful.
enjoyed your beautiful insights and your
Oh, thank you.
eloquency with words and how you string thoughts and words and methods together. It's brilliant. I look forward to hearing you speak more at conferences like CanFit Pro Global. And what I encourage all of you to do now that you've had the opportunity to listen, if this episode encourages you to pause long enough to reconnect with yourself, because sometimes the greatest momentum comes not from pushing harder, but being here, listening in on these conversations and finding ways to become more aligned with who you are and how you truly want to show up in the world. Perhaps you might also want to share this episode with others that you want to celebrate or who inspires you or you feel might need this insight as well. And I'd be grateful for a review. So feel free to leave that on the platform that you listen to this podcast on. Check out my latest blog at mohagan.com. And until next time, this has been A Moment with Mo. Keep leading, keep growing, and keep moving forward with pause and purpose and Penny in mind. Thank
Beautiful.
you. Thank you very much.
Beautiful.